All right, we're here.
We're live. All right.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live. Second cup of coffee morning. I've
Coffee.
had two.
Yeah, me too. This is
I,
number
I
two.
Two's rare these days. I usually just do the one. But I mean it's noon 30 here. It's what 8:30 there.
Yeah, it's a two cupper if I'm going to stay fresh and al fresco for you for this endeavor.
Yep. Switching over to that. I picked up some of that beet powder
Oh yeah,
that you had. Yeah, the one that has the pomegranate in it.
gotcha. Once you told me that it has pomegranate and it doesn't taste as bad, I immediately got rid of it because I told you like I've had it too good for too long. So I got the basic beetroot pills and I open them up and I put
Oh my god,
and every time I do it, I just look at it like I know what I'm doing to myself, and I
it's
deserve every
terrible.
bit of it.
I've been doing that pyramid or superset that we do
Mm,
that we did at the Eagle River Alaska Club,
right.
and I'm trying to remember what exactly. So it was 7 sets total.
It was somewhere between six to eight is where it ranges and it goes to, right? The warm up piece being whatever you're going to be doing for the exercise, you do as the warm up. You just do
Yeah,
lightweight, get it moving. But usually your third set,
yeah,
you're using your actual weight you're going to use. So your working set weight you use, but you only go like 5 to 7 reps, just kind of get the nervous system ready. So the first part is getting the tendons, the muscles, everything ready, blood flow. The second is nervous system, like, okay, we have to lift some heavy weights.
neural drive.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so just to explain to people listening, we supersetted incline dumbbell chest press, bench press, whatever, with alternating shoulder press.
Right. So we
Yeah,
did the alternating shoulder presses from here. I
yeah.
think we did something else too, but
No, just for
no,
those two, that was it.
that was just for the warm up. We did this for the actual working sets where it was literally you go from one on the incline, you stand up
Yeah,
with smaller weights, boom.
that's it. And so we did five and then three and then three and then one and one. I've been using it. I used it actually this morning, but I didn't get a chance to go to the gym. But I did it with push-ups, and it was like it's not as good. I tried to like elevate my feet just to make it a little bit harder, but it's a fun one. I've already gone up like about 5 pounds, like I was saying, in each of the dumbbells.
Nice.
But
Nice.
yeah. So what were you saying about you went from 26 reps with the 70s or
Yeah.
65s?
So this is embarrassing, right? So I've been doing the bodybuilding, lifting thing for 20-ish years on and off, but the last 4 years I've been pretty into it. And yeah, you should know your weight like that you're working with. And I
Yeah,
haven't been going super heavy because every time I do any heavy movement, whether it's squats, I don't do deadlifts or anything like that, but a pressing motion, anything, I
yeah,
fatigue the muscle. So it's a chest movement. We usually get on some cables and I do some flies. Then I go to a moderately heavy weight, but 65 after doing all that other stuff is
yeah.
moderately heavy. We didn't do that. So I
Right.
wasn't really prepared. What do we do? I grab the 65s, we go, and I'm like, I should probably get 15, maybe 20 on a great day.
Just kept going.
Well, just kind of
There was no end in sight.
when does this stop? So I had what, 26? So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
fully impressed and embarrassed because I should know my weight better. And knowing my weight better, I thought I was like, hey, yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before, it was push day again. Went and did the same thing I always do. Want to do 80s versus the 65s, but someone broke the other 80, so I couldn't do 80s. I went to
Did you
85.
break it?
I didn't break it. I didn't
Like
break
the
it.
handle or like one of the heads of the dumbbells?
I don't know. It was gone. It's broken. It might be disappeared somewhere else into the gym, but usually they break if they're just disappeared like that. So I grabbed the 85. Okay, pretty close. Grab them. I'm like 15. Got it. 15, 18, 21, 23. I'm like, okay, so I just really suck at guessing my weight now. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. We're moving up to the hundreds, I think, just to do it. No more ego lifting, but we're gonna have to. We got to progress.
You got to stay in that range that you're looking for. But yeah, it's a good one. It's just so simple. Sometimes I feel like I I don't know. I know too much, so I'm almost trying like, well, what's the best thing I can do for like the most mind muscle activation here? But that one is just, I don't know. It kind of brings me back to like college kind of lifting days where it's just like less is more. It's just simple, get after it. But
That's a very nice way of you saying, "Hey, I'm so much smarter than you, Preston. Let me do this caveman workout." But yeah, that's fair.
No, but I mean, it's there is a point of simplicity when it comes to like you don't need new exercise all the time. I hear all the time like just take the same exercises and progressive overload to them, and that's all you need. And I think that sometimes some of my workouts have become not too much fluff, but just too much like overthought, over analyzing of like, oh, what's going to get me the most effective
Sure.
mind muscle connection, what I'm going for. But yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anywho, I guess we should explain the concept of the this podcast, whatever you want to call it. Healing heals. This
healing.
is something. This is something I've been kind of dreaming up for quite a while now, and really, what it came down to is like I love listening to podcasts. I always love the portion, like especially wrestling podcasts or fitness podcasts, when a wrestler is interviewed and they're talking about like their fitness or their diet regimen or training regimen or how they got recently like into killer shape. But I always feel like that portion is only like a few minutes, like maybe 5 minutes at most. I always kind of like want to know more like specific details, like, oh, what does John Cena eat for breakfast, or what does so and so take for a certain supplement, and just more. Obviously, both of us are like health and fitness kind of nerds, and we could talk about all this stuff. And with the healing portion, the kind of the concept that came behind that is with injuries and just how much of a emotional and mental roller coaster, dealing with an injury, especially with pro wrestling, is. You get used to just like the adrenaline and the excitement all the time, and as soon as you get that taken away with an injury, it's just like, what the fuck, like, what am I?
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with that. So I thought of it as a way for, you see all the time like on social media, someone like gets an injury, they'll post maybe a photo of them like laid up in a hospital or something. If not too serious, and they'll be everyone will comment like, "Speedy recovery, well wishes, brother. Get well soon. You'll be back soon." And you get all this love thrown at you right off the bat. That first day or first week maybe, but then it's like, where's that check in a month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, when things kind of can really get dark depending on how long that injury is. And I just thought like the eventual concept for this, what I'd like to do is have people on who are either in the midst of dealing with an injury, or maybe after the fact, and what they've kind of learned and what kind of insight they would give to either other wrestlers or people who are struggling with like the mental and physical battles of an injury, or kind of what they've learned along the process. I know both you and I, we've had our kind of health struggles along the way, and what type of things that you learn from that process, and what you could tell kind of almost like a younger version of yourself. I heard a quote where it's like, an injury is not a process of recovery, it's a process of discovery. So it's not always just like, recovering, but it's like you're learning along the ways of. I know every time that I've gone to PT or gained had some sort of thing, whether it's big or small, wrong with me, like I always gain some new tools to add into my toolbox. But so, I mean, what there's so many things of what could have happened wrestling wise with both of us.
Right.
And so, for sure, some people are kind of curious to know what some of the plans were leading up to that.
Well, so yeah, there's a couple things, and we'll get into some of it here in a little bit. It all kind of is connected to health, right? At the end of the day, is really been the doorstop to a lot of Planet Pain esque things that have taken or should have
For
taken
sure.
could have taken place. We wish took place. Um, One of those big things here is we just had 907's Pro Wrestling's their last show was the anniversary show. 5 years
Yep.
doing this as an independent company, starting out as an academy where I know JT West, the coach, promoter, literally the lifeblood of the whole company, right? Started out as a way to get a couple people in Alaska sorted out so they can go travel around. Eventually, we started running promotions here, and we just worked the Egan Center almost exclusively 907 pro wrestling talent. So you can
Yep.
see just the A to B where that's gone. Somewhere in there, there's been a lot of opportunity for us as Planet Pain to do a lot of things. We've
For
talked about
sure.
it before, as Planet Pain was a definitely a staple for 907, and I think we kept people. We might have brought some new people, but we kept people coming to every show. We had
Yeah.
that vibe. And what are they going to do next? You know, between Tyler being uber talented and charismatic, me and Chad being a tag team and kind of goobers. So you see some funny, you get the funny ha-has, you get the athleticism. You're like, oh, that's really hard to hate. So although we started out being hated, that didn't
Yeah.
last very long, right? A natural turn and all that until I want to, screwed it all up for everybody. Way later. Although I do remember somebody else putting a mask on, screwing some stuff up along the way too. Anyway, all that to say, the Arisen show here that took place, one of the original things we are going to do is it was going to be you, me, and Chad in a triple threat.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, we had that cage match between Gunner and Kid Money Mitchell. Awesome match, great start of the show, TV quality every which way. It was said that that cage is the best cage on the independent wrestling circuit in the entire world. No,
It's solid.
no doubts there.
Yep.
But I still think if it had been announced a month before that you, me, and Chad were all finally getting in the ring together for
Yeah.
one triple threat match,
Yeah.
I think it would have had to been a dual main event start and close with that, no matter who else was on the card.
A
Personal
true
opinion,
bookend of the show.
exactly. But it didn't happen, and we talked a little bit about health. I'm kicking it back to you. Why
Yeah.
did that particular one happen?
House of Pain three way. Um, but why it didn't happen? I mean, so I started training. First off, I've been dealing with this weird pain. I wouldn't even know if it's really an injury. It's an injury is something where it's like something happens to you, you heal from it, you get better. At this point, I've never torn my ACL or had any sort of like surgery, but that's a much more linear progression of an injury. Something happens, you get the surgery, you heal from it, you rehab, you recover. You may not ever be 100%, but at least there is that, again, kind of linear pathway to healing. Whereas what I've been dealing with is very multi-dimensional in terms of things where it's like it's the nervous system, it's physical, it's mental. I had felt in one match, particularly like my SI joint just kind of pop or kind of go out of place, and I'm like, oh, okay, kind of alarmed me for a little bit. I was looking up like chiropractors to go to. Um, Wrestled like later that night or something, and it was fine, but I knew something was still kind of like off. And then like a couple weeks later, had took like a awkward move, kind of in the not in the center of the ring, on the off side of the ring, kind of near like the buckle. And I remember walking back, and just like my low back just felt super like hot, like almost like I had like a scrape on it. And I was like, asked people like, is my back like, did I get like a cut or a scrape? 'Cause it just felt like this extreme like heat sensation on my low back. And then a few months went by, and it was, fine. And then all along the lines, like I started dealing like kind of just weird, almost like nerve kind of like zaps along, like in my low back, in my pelvis, comes up. It's called chronic pelvic pain syndrome. It's basically any sort of like pain in the lower half, like the pelvis, that is just chronic. So something that kind of just like comes and goes. But it's one of those things where it is impacted with your nerves. So your nervous system, right? Like your fight or flight, or anytime you experience like any sort of like stress, that like ramps up symptoms. I've been doing like I've read a couple books by Dr. Sarno, who's really big in the mind body practice, where it just relates like, if you're dealing with anything sort of mental or emotional sort of stress, like that's going to ramp up physical symptoms. It's
Yeah,
pretty fascinating stuff, and just how some people have healed from this. So anyways, like I'm like, okay, I kind of went down the mind body pathway trying to heal, but there was still something off, like physically, with my back and my hips. So like I had some MRIs done. It showed all the normal abnormalities, as they're called, like some disc degeneration, little stenosis. I mean, like I've done gymnastics and been wrestling, if you include like the backyard trampoline days, for like over 20 years, right? Since I was a teenager. Built my wrestling ring after I read the Hardy Boys autobiography out of a trampoline garden hose, like 2005. So legit 21 years ago. Um, So again, like normal wear and tear in the back, but one MRI showed that I had these, they're called peroneural cysts, also known as Tarlov cysts. And those were located really low in the back of your sacrum. You got your lumbar, and then below that, it's kind of like your sacrum, which is your tailbones right at the tip. And so they're like, huh, okay, this could be nothing. A lot of people have them, but the way that they are is that they're pressed up on a nerve. And so basically, anytime um, if you land like on your butt, or if you even sit for long periods of time, that pressure on the sacrum bone kind of pushes into the cyst that's on the nerve even more, and it just causes like an uptick in symptoms. And so like I didn't really know this up until all this part explaining like kind of like the weird just like electrical impulses. Sometimes they'd be like in my glutes, sometimes they'd be like in my perineum. For those of you that are listening that don't know what it is, it's basically the area between your ball sack and your butthole. Not a fun area. And all of a sudden you'd get just a random kind of like nerve kind of zap there. And so just kind of weird stuff. Like anytime I would work out my lower half, like legs, especially, like do a lot of impact or jumping, it would like flare up these symptoms where it's like the nerve, again, that cyst is kind of like pressing on that nerve. So to kind of summarize, like I was doing that last year, 2025, when I was in Anchorage, I was dealing with this, but not really quite sure. I think the MRI was somewhere, it was last summer, so about a year ago. And so I hadn't known about the cyst yet. I just thought like, okay, tight kind of like pelvic floor and hip muscles. Let's try to stretch that out. Let's try to breathe. Let's try to do some like down regulation techniques. That all like helped, but I was like, okay, this is going to be like kind of a long process. Again, it's not like a torn ligament where it's like a linear progression and you just heal from that, like 6 to 9 months, whatever your diagnosis is. I was aware that it was going to take time. And I also was aware too that I have more wrestling days behind me than I do ahead of me then. And I was okay with that at that time, but still trying to like mentally process that. Once I became aware of the cyst after that MRI, it was always kind of in the back of my mind. But it wasn't until actually just a few months ago when I started retraining over here on the East Coast. I started going into a wrestling school. I'm like, I just got to get my cardio back up. This is when I was starting to do some things with Green Mountain. Like, okay, I was feeling kind of good enough. I was added a little bit of more muscle back on. I was starting to get my cardio back up. I'm like, let's do this. Like, even if it's just like a 10, 20% thing, because that's kind of where my pain scale was at the time. It was like maybe a 2 out of 10 throughout the day. Like, even just sitting here now, it's just kind of like a low grade, kind of like dull ache deep in like my low back, my hip area. Um, so I started training again, and then taking some bumps, I started noticing an uptick in these symptoms again. I was like, what the heck is going on? And one of my physical therapists I was going to reminded me of the cysts. I'd kind of wrote them off because one of the spine specialists that I saw, they were like, they're nothing to worry about. They're first off, they're not really well studied in like the medical community. Like,
Mm.
but this PT reminded me, like, hey, I have another patient who actually has the same thing. You have a lot of the same symptoms, and they're not something just to write off. And so I started digging a little bit deeper about it, doing some more research on these peroneural cysts, or these Tarlov cysts, and lo and behold, like it just kind of matched 99% of the symptoms and stuff that I'm going with. And so anything that's like impact wrestling, so like bumping, right, is I just can't do it. Like I can do it, but then it's just like it flares things up. There's only a few different specialists in the country that actually deal with this actual thing. The next step is kind of I'm getting like what's called a DNRB, a diagnostic nerve root block, to see if it's going to better help pinpoint like if this is the actual cause, which it pretty much is. It's just kind of like a confirmation to see if they are going to actually do any sort of intervention with it or not. But the surgery process is like, it's neurosurgery, and that's not really something to decide on lightly. There's a lot of factors come through it. It's like I can do most normal things, daily things. Like I can't like lift heavy from the lower half. I can't like jump, and I can't really like take a good bump. I can roll. That's like the last thing I did in Green Mountain. I was supposed to wrestle Mike Skyros, their champion. We were supposed to have a match, and like a few weeks before that, that's when I had um, a big flare up. So it's like we had to do a spot where he kind of killed me off. And I'm like, well, I can do a DDT, or something that's not like from the waist down. And so I was like trying to think when we were planning out this triple, like, oh God, like the triple threat, like, can we get around a way where it's like I can work and we can do that, but it's like I don't want you guys to feel like you had to take it easy with me. You know what I mean?
Well, and if we were going to do the House of Pain 3, right? That's
Yeah,
there's no way. Okay, you're going to throw a drop kick here and there. You're going to do this. You're getting beat up in a match like that.
I
There's
know.
there's nothing there's nothing that can be done to really protect you if you have to get hit a certain way. If there's a chair shot, that's funny. If there's you want to jump
Yeah,
from a ladder onto somebody, obviously that's not a possibility for you right now. So,
right. And I
um,
was thinking like, well, if I did jump from a ladder, I could probably pull off like a crossbody or something where I'm not like landing. But like,
sure,
oddly enough, it's like all the crazy shit that I've done, any like little injury or stuff that I've had, like I've mentioned the two before, they were just like basic bumps. Like when I tweaked the SI, it was like a standing moonsault, which I've done like hundreds of times. The other thing was just like a move. It was in the harder part of the ring.
yeah.
Um, but wear and tear, genetics, um, just kind of like I've always had, I feel like breathing issues. That's like retraining. One of the big things that I've done with my like healing process is like retraining the diaphragm, like how I'm properly taking like a full breath in really low and not like chest breathing, dropping dropping it down. But I'd be curious if there's any other, especially wrestlers, because there's not a lot of people who have dealt with this exact thing. Like I'm on like some online forums and read about it, but I'd just be curious if there's any other wrestlers who have dealt with that. Because few people I do know, like they've developed from just like repetitive trauma. One guy like that I know like was on like a motorcycle, and that like the impact of that is what caused his issues. But so there's me, and then let's talk about like what have you had to deal with for like the last year or two? What are some of your struggles?
Yeah, there's some things there. Before we get there, we should address the one more thing. You did
Okay.
get to step in the ring, though, on the
Oh, well, true, true, true. We are jumping over that. And
yeah.
why? Why we did what we
I
did?
can't let it go, right? One, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
let it go because obviously you were. If you want, go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. Everybody, there's a masked man in the ring. There's a couple of them actually, but one is a little bit more of a taller, slender build. Although you don't see a lot of yoga ninja things till the mask comes off. Obviously, it's Tyler. Um, you go in, you get to do some things. Obviously, if you go back and look again, no bumping, right? Because you're still
Sure.
in that process of sorting out what you're sorting out, right? And this isn't like you said, it's not a linear thing. You're not progressively getting better or worse necessarily.
Right.
This is almost day by day, right?
Yeah.
You being able to throw a super kick or throw this move or do this thing, no bumping, sure. It seems like you can do something,
Right.
but again, that's not going to be a triple threat match with a House of Pain 3 name on it. Now, the Royal,
Not gonna.
however, where you have a brother to take care of you in there,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to help me win the match, which you did a terrible job. Um, so what happened there is, if again
Damn, Tommy.
go back and look, the idiot yeah man over there, he went on to win. He took a hell of a beating. I'll say that. At least
Didn't he?
beat the hell out of him first.
He always takes a good beating.
He really does. And an excellent super kick. I'm
Oh yeah.
convinced he just chews shoe leather as a
He
professional.
just.
That's what he
Do you
does.
remember? Do you remember the post that I did when I think you weren't in the match, but you watched it, the one where like he just like ate
Oh,
it, and I did like the hills have eyes face comparison because his face like literally like deformed.
completely just deformed and mushed is what it should be, but somehow he looks fine for him.
It was
Anyway,
amazing.
but yeah, we hugged, we teamed up. Why did we do that? So I tell this story to anybody who will listen, which isn't a lot of people. But the Planet Pain dynamic, I think. I know for me, I think for Chad and for you, which I don't want to speak for you two, especially you, you're right here. There, it's a weird dynamic, right? So that's kind of what really I only know. as a wrestler, I had a little bit of something going on before. I did one or two singles matches, really not even singles matches, but it was my own thing. And then we really took off as the Planet Pain thing, jumping in there. It was all tag team, triple threat, or excuse me, not triple threat, 6-man match,
Trios. Yeah.
trio stuff. And yeah, so the identity of PW3 is always going to be tied to that in some way, whether I like it, don't like it. It's what it is. And I look at Planet Pain. If you look at it and you look at what the Yoga Ninja seems to stand for, you look at a yin yang, right?
Yeah.
There's light, there's dark, and then there's that centerpiece. So you literally have balance, again, light and dark. And if you look at this natural piece of who everything is, you're the balanced character. You've been around a lot longer. You've ebbed and flowed back and forth to the light and the dark.
Mm-hmm.
I am very much naturally the dark, chaotic force. I have never tried to be a good person, really ever. And then we have our golden retriever brother that
Crop
is
top
just
wearing.
he is just a good boy
Yes.
all the time. He can try to pretend to be a little mean, a little bit rude, but it's the fakest thing in the world. He's the nicest guy. So there's just this ebb and flow. And if you listen to what you've been talking about this whole time, you're kind of in a little bit of a darker place. And well, welcome home.
Yes.
Uh,
Feels good. Feels right.
yeah. So sometimes you can't have light without darkness, but you
That's
can't
true.
have the light without the darkness. So
That's true.
we all have our pieces to play. Right now, we're a little bit more aligned than I think at odds. So
Yeah.
moving away from that, we talked about health. Obviously, health was a whole portion of this here on why you couldn't do some of the other stuff. So
Yeah.
you brought up my health. So right now I'm doing awesome. So thanks, which is great. Uh, but a year ago, a year and 2 months and 4 days ago, I think is the actual exact date, somewhere around there.
March. March, right?
It was March, I think,
Yeah.
20 something. I went to bed like everyone does most nights. I woke up the next morning. I went, wow, I had a tremendous night's sleep. It's not something I get a lot of really, really good sleep. In fact, it was such good, restful sleep that I went, was it I can't remember what day it was. I think it was a Friday. Just took the day off from work, something. I'm like, I'm going to go back and take another little 45-minute hour nap, see how I feel, start the day. Laid back down. I woke up because my chest hurt. I was like, oh, that's weird. And sometimes I'll do a little bumping, maybe there's a little gas trapped in there, something. Who
Yeah.
knows? It could be anything. Maybe it's just a muscle being a little tight. I work out constantly. It could be a million things, right? And then pretty much instantly after a little stretching, I went, oh, I'm having a heart attack. And it was just me in the room, and I said, huh. Kids had to go to school. That's how I remember it was probably a Thursday or Friday. And I went, huh, how am I going to handle this? So I went in my drawer, a couple of them, and I picked out a shirt because I'm like, I'm going to the ER really soon. And this feels pretty shitty. I'm like, what shirt do I want to die in? Literally said it out loud to myself as I'm slowly processing what's happening, trying to keep myself calm, knowing that's what I need to do if I think I'm having a heart attack. So I have an old Meatloaf shirt. I got Meatloaf is my favorite singer. I got from SPAC, the Saratoga Performing Arts Center up in New York. My
Okay.
mom brought me to that concert when I was about 15, 16. I'm like, cool, I'll die in this. Sounds good. Went downstairs, real slow down the stairs, and told Denise, I said, hey, I need to go to the ER. Just like that, with a smile on my face and everything. And she's like, oh, can we take the kids to school first? I said, nope, I need to go right now. So I try not to alarm anybody. We went off to the hospital, which is stupid, by the way. I should have instantaneously called 911.
Yeah.
But what I was doing in trying to keep myself calm, I had kind of distracted myself from like full on logic. Like, what is
Yeah.
the best move to do right now? And I don't want to alarm
Right.
the family because if I alarm them, it's going to raise my blood pressure up. I'm like, okay, so what's
Yep.
the coolest, calmest way to do this? So we do that. I get out, we get to the hospital. I'm feeling about the same the whole time, doing a little bit of breathing exercises I had like vaguely remembered from other PTs and things I've done. I'm like, okay. I go in the ER and I look at the guy and I say, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm having a heart attack. Again, with a smile. I don't know why. I'm just kind of, I think I'm having a heart attack. And he's like, oh, go to the back right now. So we did. We sat down, got hooked up to all the things, and no, I didn't have a heart attack, but I had something going on where there was some sort of heart damage. We don't know what it
Mhm.
was exactly. We don't know if it was caused by some virus, some underlying sickness I had, or some just genetic thing. Probably not genetic thing. I did get on an antibiotic for something pretty recently when
Mm.
that happened, and there's a chance for some heart issues with that antibiotic. So a couple different things could have been at play. Regardless, they strap me up to every machine under the sun. They're checking my heart. They're doing all this. And if you don't know, there's something called troponin, which is a chemical essentially released in the body when there's heart damage that takes place. So a widowmaker heart attack will show about 1,000, whatever the measurement is. I don't know. It shows about 1,000. I'm like, okay. And the cardiologist eventually came in because this was general medicine, all this. And then they started getting some more higher level specialist practitioners in there. Cardiologist came in and said, yeah, you had about a 5,000.
Wow.
I was like, oh, thanks. Um, by the way, I have a wrestling match tomorrow that's really important to me.
Against
And
me.
it was against Tyler. And she said, no, you don't. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I really do. Like, I'm a pro wrestler. I work for this. And she's like, listen, I don't think you understand what's going on. Like, you're not doing anything for like 6 months. I'm like, well, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So she dives into the subject matter a little bit more, tells me more about what's going on. And I'm like, okay. So essentially, I get diagnosed with some level of myocarditis, right? So that's heart swelling.
Yeah.
I like to joke with my wife and say, I love you so much. You made my heart swell. Um, that's
Nice.
that's one way to kind of get some browning points and always throw in there. Remember, I could die at any moment, so be nice to me. Yeah, I usually throw it in there more during arguments or
That's good.
or anything. But
Nice to have that one in the back pocket.
yeah, it's pretty good. Except minus the dying part. But yeah, so essentially the everything I'd built up around that point. It was me and you about to have a match. We had a match one time before where you were Payne. You were in the mask.
Yeah.
But we had to be careful about that because you had your shoulder injured, right? Your
Yeah.
AC joint or something. Didn't you wrestle? You wrestled Chad.
Wrestled both of you guys. It was
Yeah,
a tag team. It was the night. It was the night before at the Willowa. And again, all of my injuries have been the stupid thing. I think it was a back elbow, but the refrigerator,
yeah,
aka Chad,
yes.
ran through it, and it just like came this way, and yeah, jammed up my AC joint. And it was,
So that match, we weren't even able to go do what we really wanted to do then. So this
no,
match, right before my heart issue, was supposed to be like, all right, balls to the wall. We're gonna make this work because you were healthy, I was
yeah,
healthy, I was in really good shape, probably some of the best, if not the best shape I'd ever been in my life, like really close. So I'm like, this is gonna be a slobber knocker, a banger,
this
whatever.
was uh, this was March of 25. So I'm trying to think of storyline wise. We had like a spot in the, I think in the Rumble like two months ago, and I was just thinking like I was face, you had turned because that was after like you had killed off Chad,
Yeah.
and Chad was gone during this time.
Yeah, he was gone. He had been gone for quite a bit, and this was kind of the all right. He eliminated Chad. What's going on with him and
Yeah,
Tyler kind of situation? And because we always kept that kind of ambiguous, right? Just
right.
him was me and him, and then eventually we sorted our stuff out, or tried to. Are we sorting? We're sorting it out still. Um, yeah, so that's that whole thing right there. So obviously, I started taking my health even more serious.
Yeah,
So I shouldn't have to say this because I'm not that big of a dude. I'm not small, but no steroid use, no HGH, no weird peptides, no nothing funny. Like I've never messed with anything like that in my life.
yeah,
No pro hormones, no testosterone boosters, literally nothing out of the ordinary. So for this to happen was really something. If I'd been on, the gas for 4 or 5 years or something, and this happens, you're
yeah,
like, okay, well, it kind of fits the MO, but it really doesn't. So
yeah.
um, went back to the drawing board, 100% for the training I could do because for a month I had to sit still uh, in a chair. That was my training regimen.
And
I
breathe.
said, you sit, breathe.
Yeah.
Literally, I had to become a bit of a Zen master myself. I had, one of the watches tracking everything, and I
Heart
learned
rate.
different breathing exercises. You gave me a couple tips and tricks. YouTube was actually kind of the godsend for this one because I tried a
Yeah.
few different ones, and I kind of nailed two different types. So there's They would just work for whatever reason. They would work at different times of the day for me. Maybe it was mood.
Okay.
Maybe I really committed to one a little bit better. But I would
Yeah.
breathe in for 4 seconds. So I'll just demonstrate. One is
Yep.
you hold for 6,
Yep.
and then you exhale for 8 seconds.
Yeah. 4, 6, 8.
Exactly.
Yep.
Do that a few times. It kind of
That's a good
forces
one.
some diaphragm breathing, all the things, right? Like, it really resets you. It's the mammalian reflex, something like that. It really
Yes.
resets you. It's the same thing
Yep.
if you put your face in some cold water and submerge it, only you're
Yep.
doing it with your breathing. So I could do that, or I could do 2 really good breaths in, and then you exhale for 10 seconds, which I'll save everybody the 10 seconds.
Right. It's an eternity.
Blowing out a candle for
Yeah.
10 seconds, and you repeat that.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to get used to it, but I literally would sit in a chair, stare at my little heart monitor watch, and my game of the day every day for a month was, let's see how long I can keep this under 50.
Nice.
Under 50 beats per minute, which is pretty good. My normal state was high 60s, 70s, very decent,
That's good.
and it's a heart, right? So I can't just put my heart in a sling and go, oh, it's going to be fine soon.
Exactly.
The only thing you can do, because if it stops beating, I die. The only thing you can do is slow it down to help the
Yeah.
healing process. I got some medicine called colchicine, which is an anti-inflammatory in general too.
Yeah.
So it's actually gout medicine, funny enough, but because it's an anti-inflammatory,
Interesting.
it's something to help. I can't remember. She described it as just kind of help flush things out a little bit, like the troponin.
Yeah.
It's really just a marker, so not it's a damage marker, not like it is damaging while it's in you.
Yeah.
Just kind of help everything in the system relax.
Just level out, get out of fight or flight, more into that rest or digest.
Sure, sure. That was more the breathing, certainly, and
Yeah.
I think the medicine was just like an extra, like, let's see where we can go. A month
I
in,
got you.
okay, I want to return to working out, and she let me say, you can go kind of work out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go work out, so tell me how I can do it safely. So she told me to wear the monitor the whole time. I had a great cardiologist, by the way. Wear a monitor the whole time. You can do weightlifting, super light weightlifting. Basically, just move your body, almost nothing. So again, not a small guy, but not huge, but I'm in there with my 30, 40 pound not dumbbells, but barbell going.
All with the breath, right?
That was one. 20 reps a set for me, a couple sets
Yeah.
every day, just with whatever I was doing. So one, I looked ridiculous. Two, it was training adjacent, but didn't really feel like training. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
what it was lean muscle preservation. That's what I was
Yeah.
going for. Because I was sitting in sedentary for a full month. I am
Yeah.
naturally supposed to be sitting around the 160, 170 mark at my bone density and all that stuff. So
Sure.
I have a lot more muscle on my frame than my frame probably wants to naturally have.
Yeah.
So sitting anywhere between 210 and 220 is my normal. That's, we're talking 40, 50 pounds heavier than probably what homeostasis would be for my
Yeah.
body.
On
So
a frame that doesn't want it.
yeah, so it's just I could just tell the muscle waste was just coming the whole time. So that first month back, or first month before I got back, was really depressing, really dark, really problematic. Once I started lifting the weights again and just knew I wasn't losing the muscle, I felt better. The mental space felt better because when
Yeah.
you kind of alluded to this too, like when you finally get to put a little bit of muscle mass back on, it's a good
Yeah.
feeling, right?
It's a great feeling.
So first of all, it's metabolically the best thing you can do for your body. People
Yep.
love to talk about cardio as the best thing for you. More and more things are saying the more lean body mass you have, the more resistance training you do, the more your longevity is going to be.
100%.
Yeah, just kind of going down that rabbit hole of like, okay, I need to get back in this and maintain this.
Yeah.
Plus, losing 10 pounds of muscle, that's like a year of progress. So
It happens
imagine,
so fast.
yeah, imagine going, okay, you have this thing that happened to you. We're taking away two things you care about more than anything else in the world, which is your fitness and your exercise and your pro wrestling. Gone.
Yep.
You can't
Yep.
do anything for a month. You have to
Sit
say,
down.
oh, okay. And by the way, your muscle that you've been building for years is going to deteriorate while you do this.
Slowly atrophying.
The worst feeling in the world.
Horrible.
I have probably never been more depressed in my entire life, but I got through it. You checked up on me. Chad checked up on me, even though I hadn't murdered him. You know, near
You
death
can't.
experiences have a way to just kind of put some other things to bed for a little while. But yeah, that's basically what happened with that. Is we had to do that. We had to reset, and here I am a year and a couple months later. I mean, if you go back and were to look at the catalog of 907 Pro Wrestling, you could see there was this uptick where I was doing a bunch, drop off.
Yeah.
We did a good job of kind of, sorry JT, of covering it up, because we have our monthly shows. I disappear for a little bit, and the next thing you know, I do like one little thing. One of the first things I did back was Wrestle You.
Yeah.
And
Did
that,
I?
yeah, and that was really really scary because that was the first, like, I'm really gonna try to go a little bit. And we
Right.
even had a point in the match where we're like, hey, I'm powdering out and gonna go to the outside in the middle of all the things we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna
Right.
make sure I'm not gonna die. So I'm
Yeah.
literally walking around just like, how's the heart feel? How's this feel? I'm like, okay, let's go. Boom.
Yeah, dude.
So
Yeah,
that
you
was
mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned like when an injury or something, and it's interesting because we both have dealt with things that again are not traditional or like linear injuries, like, oh, torn ligament or whatever. They're just like, they're acute things, you heal from it. But it's like when you're dealing with like a heart, which is, and like nerves, they're all like nervous system related. And it's like what one thing we both had to do was like, I think, slow down and
yeah,
just really almost take that time. I think there was probably like, stress deals with on the heart, is stress impacts the nervous system. And I think there was a spot, in our lives where it's like, maybe we were dealing with some other stuff on the outside that kind of led to just like, whether directly or indirectly or just, overall affected things to come down. But then again, it's like you can't work out as hard. And I dealt with the same things. It's like seeing legit muscle, and I'm the same as you. It's like if I had never worked out, like I'm 165, 170, but it's like I have to fight for every ounce of that to stay there. You've eaten with me. I out eat you most days. The
every
amount of food.
time, every time.
You're like, my God, he's eating again. Like, yeah, it's what it takes to maintain a 165-pound frame.
Yeah,
Um, but
you
like
have
you, I was gonna say, if I had never worked out, what are you gonna say?
I said you have a tapeworm. It's
I might.
it's got to be like the size of this bottle. It's
Yeah, it's just in there.
gross. Well, now that everybody's tuned out, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's the parasite trend has gotten a little ridiculous over social media. I don't know if you've seen all those like detoxes and stuff like that. My sister's very into it. She's like, when it's the full moon comes out, she does like her parasite detoxes. But I don't know, a good like 24-hour fast, I feel like for me once a week will help kind of even things out. But like I was saying, like if I hadn't worked out at all, I'd probably be 140 pounds. I mean, that's just like I'm a very small boned, it's a thing. Big bone is a thing, small bones is a thing.
100%.
And just with the lower half, like just I've never been huge or have had, overly muscular legs, but just seeing the little muscle that I've had just shriveling away. I remember getting a massage, and my massage therapist was like, "Man, I feel like you've lost a lot of muscle in your legs," and it's just like that is a crush to the ego when you hear that
That's
right
the worst
there,
thing you could ever hear in your entire life.
dude.
It's
And
top like five worst things ever.
yep. And so like not taking away wrestling, which is a huge, huge creative outlet for me to put stuff into like my promos and my character work and my move set. Um, Working out, like again, I can still do it. Like, and even now, it's like I've learned enough tricks where it's like the breath, and have been able to kind of scale my workouts where I can do most things. It's just I just have to adapt. And like upper body wise, I can pretty much do anything. But one of the other things that I can't do for long periods of times is sit for long periods of time. So it's like during those initial healing periods, like I couldn't even play like video games because like sitting down, unless I was standing up. But it's like who wants to do that for more than 5 minutes? So like I can't sit for long periods of times. I can't work out the way I want. And so yeah, I feel you, man. And I think one thing that we both had to do was, I mean, breath work was huge for me too. The 4-6-8 of the 4-7-8. And one thing that really kind of helps mellow me out is take like a hot Epsom salt bath. I know you're like a big you're into those too, but that's like something where I feel I'm just like, okay, all the muscles are like really tense. I'm like guarding. I just need to literally just kind of chill out and get into that. Another thing that I had you and Chad do that one time. Do you remember the Shack T mat?
Yeah, I
You
remember.
better.
I still remember how I feel, like, or how I
Yeah,
felt during it. Which I
yeah,
was about to say, this is a great time. Like we talked about the help. Like, what do we do to kind of help with all that, right? So we have
yeah,
things like that we can't really control. On top of my heart thing, I have hip, back, neck
yeah,
issues, all kinds of things, right? Like we all have a bunch of different stuff. We just focused, for me at least, the worst thing. So
sure.
I can't stand very long without it hurting. I can't sit very long without it hurting. I can't lay very long without my back hurting. So I'm always having to move a little bit. So not being able to be mobile during my time was a little bit of a problem too. So now back pain, all these other things. So right into that you said it's a shock T, right? That's what it's called, Matt.
Shack T.
Shack T, Matt.
That's
Yeah.
just the brand. It's an acupressure mat. So it's basically, for those of you that haven't seen it before, it's like a big mat. It's about the size of your back with like tons of little spikes on it. It's like a bed of nails.
Right. So I kind of wish I had something like that for a little while. But now I've thought about it. I remember how it made me feel. I don't need that because there's only so many people in the world to murder. Uh, I
Yeah,
like it is literally an acupuncture mat, right? I didn't know how to expect.
yeah,
I'm laying on this thing. It's literally like these needles. I lay into it, and again, I'm kind of heavy, especially in the upper body. So everything's pushing down pretty hard. And when I eventually relax, and I kind of get in a zone where I can kind of enjoy is the wrong word. I was never able to enjoy it, but like process it better.
yeah.
By the time I got up, everything had flared up to a point where like my adrenaline was spiked. I
I
literally
remember that look
woke up
in your
and
eye.
started to feel crazy. Like I don't know, like I needed something. And it was not how that was supposed to work, but that's what it did for me.
Yeah. It's those first few minutes are like, again, it's kind of like the same concept as like cold water therapy or something, where it's like at first it's like it's tension, right? But it teaches you to like how to breathe through the tension and just manage stress a little bit more. I To me that works so much better than cold water, because like first off, I think the whole cold water trend is more overhyped, one of the most overrated health fitness trends that there is. I think if you're like a marathon runner, or if you just, say wrestled in a crazy match and your body is all inflamed, yeah, take a nice bath. They have them in like collegiate universities, whatnot, to bring down immediate like inflammation. But people that are just doing it like every day in general, it's causing so much of that fight or flight response, anyways, when we're already kind of living in a fast paced lifestyle anyway, and it's causing stress, right? It's restricting blood flow. There are, a lot of benefits for releasing blood flow, but for me, I used to do the cold showers, in cold water submersion. I'll dabble with it here and there, but I'll do it more isolated. Like I'll stick my shoulder in,
Okay.
if it's like if my shoulder's achy, whatever, just to like bring down inflammation. But just for the point of like doing it to like try to get through it and bring down my breathing. I like the Shakti mat. I like Wim Hof breathing. So that's basically intermittent hypoxia, where it's basically you take a bunch of deep breaths, and at the end of your exhale, you hold your breath,
Okay.
right? So you're basically teaching your body to adapt without oxygen for amount of time, and that's just building up stress resiliency. That one works better for me because like the cold water almost feels like constricts blood flow, especially like through my hips and my back. They don't respond to that like as well, whereas like a hot bath, I get out of that. Like it's just, especially with the Epsom salt, basically just is magnesium. Between that and if you're taking, it's like some magnesium glycinate, whatever, at night, that works well for me. What are some of your other like things that you do?
So for me, I definitely have to agree with you on the cold hype. I don't really see any benefit into it other than like a quick inflammation
Yeah,
cyst. Not
yeah.
much more than that, right? So if
It's a
you
dopamine hit
you,
too.
you yeah, it's a dopamine hit too. It's definitely got something for the mental fortitude side of things. I will
Yes.
admit that,
Yep.
but I every week I'm going to there's a Nordic spa that they have here.
Yeah.
I go to that. I do the cold plunge, but I'd more do that just as a little challenge to myself for the mental side of things. So there's
Sure.
sauna that I go in there. I spend a lot of time in the sauna, a lot of time in the heated pools that they have. And then when I
Yep.
get really, 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 like really overheated, I'll go into one of the cold plunges and just kind of bring everything down. Funny
Love
thing,
that.
I'm as I do it, I'm literally like holding my chest because it's just this subliminal like, how's my heart going to feel during this, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's a year and a couple months later, I'll submerge and I'll be okay. get the breathing right. And I always feel like if I got the breathing right, I'm almost invincible. Nothing's gonna get
Yeah,
me, right. It keeps the boogeyman away. Uh,
sure.
I'll emerge from the cold and I'm like, okay, I got something out of that. I think it's probably good for my skin because then I'll go into something hot and I'll get the tingle and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, so the constriction, the opening, there's probably a little something there, but it is
yep,
absolutely not what people think it is. Not everybody needs to own a cold plunge.
right.
You just don't need to. 90% of the time, a Epsom salt, warm to hot Epsom salt bath is going to do everything for you that the
Yep,
cold ones are going to do for you, but better because you're
yep,
increasing the blood flow, which blood flow is everything when it comes to
sure.
healing. So I get the reducing of inflammation, absolutely
Yeah,
a good idea. But I would take if you had to pick between a cold plunge of any sort, any type of cryotherapy in general, and then
yep,
go, I would rather do something that increases blood flow than um, decreases it. Increase it.
for sure.
Always increase. Always go warm if you have to.
Yep,
Uh, Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. We talked supplements for like 2 seconds. You mentioned the magnesium. So one
yeah,
of the things I'm doing, I for again not to always bring it back to the heart, but that's a very important thing, right? So I'm making sure my electrolytes are always good. I take potassium every day. The
hmm,
magnesium helps me sleep. I've always had issues with sleep.
yeah,
Um, I'm been in the military for 19 years. All
yeah,
the things that come with that have come my way for the most part, but a lot of it's back pain,
yeah,
neck pain, hip pain, things like that, where it's just really hard to stay in one position and actually sleep well. So if I
right.
can drift off into sleep and have really good hygiene, that
Yeah,
sleep hygiene, that does improve things quite a bit, but it's still not a end all be all. But if I don't do those little things where I'm getting the extra 5-10% benefit over time, it's a I feel like my sleep is a very deteriorating situation. So it's supposed to be the thing that brings you back, recharges
yeah,
you.
for
And
sure.
without those things, I really don't get the recharge.
I'm the same way.
I'm gonna bring up something funny about that is I don't take recommendations from a lot of people about a lot of things, mostly because I'm a stubborn ass,
Yeah.
and two, I like to discover things of my own. But I do take a couple things, like I've learned a couple things from you, and you had a funny recommendation for your sleep. You have an interesting sleep quirk I think you should address.
Well, if it's what I'm thinking of,
Yeah,
is it the pillow?
it's the pillow.
It's the
It's the
pillow.
pillow.
It's my new favorite thing. So it is. I'm trying to describe. Well, first off, what is referred to as it is a pregnancy pillow, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pregnancy pillow, and I have fallen in love with the pregnancy pillow. It's a game changer. So side sleepers out there, sleep with a pillow between your knees, good for just pelvic alignment. And even in general, if you don't have like stuff that I got going on or whatnot, it's good for your knees and your hips for good alignment. But this thing, it's like a giant donut that kind of has like a opening at the bottom where you can just like wrap your arm around it, the top, kind of like nook right into the thing.
Yeah,
And if you want to like lay kind of cocoon back like you're sleeping on a couch, because let's face it, like dudes love sleeping on the couch where it's like that little back support where you can kind of like you're not quite on your side but not quite on your back.
yeah,
It's been a game changer for me. I've always been kind of fussy with pillows. I used to love sleeping on my stomach, and I've had to cut that out years ago just because of like the arch in my back. It was
yeah.
just making it worse. It was compressing it. um so I've kind of changed to a side sleeper, and yeah, that thing, the pregnancy pillow, it's like 35 bucks on Amazon. And I even so, what do you think of it? Because I know that I convinced you to get one.
You weren't supposed to tell everybody I have one. Like that was going into it and like, yeah, so funny enough. But yeah, I on your recommendation, I got one too. And yeah, it the first probably 3 nights was kind of just weird.
It is weird.
The wife is making fun of me about it and all the kind of because I actually bought a nicer pregnancy pillow than she had when she was actually pregnant.
Yeah,
I said, well, that was your fault. You shouldn't have skipped out on things. That's I
yeah,
don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I got another one too, just like you said, that U shape. So shorter U side here, and then the
yeah.
longer version with a weird curve, which
Almost
you,
like a G.
huh?
It's almost kind of like a G
Kind of, yeah. To me,
ish.
upside down G without the circle, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe we have different ones, but yeah, I laid in that. It took me a little bit, but probably the last, I think it's been about a week and a half of using it. The last like 3 to 5 nights, I know I'm sleeping better because I'm dreaming all the time, which I
Nice.
usually don't get into that level of sleep. And every now and again, I'll be like, I'll remember a dream,
Yeah,
I'm remembering multiple dreams. Don't worry, we're not going to have like this weird. I had this dream about being a
Oh
caterpillar.
yeah,
Nothing weird like that. But like I literally am getting deep enough sleep where it allows for all that to take place. So energy's been better.
that's
Uh,
cool.
recovery feels better. So I mean, it's not a full on godsend for me, but it is
Yeah,
definitely an assist. If the right
yeah,
supplementation and sleep hygiene is giving me
yep,
10 to 15% boost. This is probably another 10% boost. So if I'm
right,
sleeping 25 to 30% better, I mean,
right.
that's a hell of a
Oh
win.
yeah, that's huge.
That's a
I
huge
agree with
win.
that. It's all cumulative, right? It's all like 5% boost from this. It's for me if I do all the right things. So it's like if I do the magnesium, if I have like a big meal, I really got to taper off food like before 7, maybe a little snack like 7:30. But if I have like a lot of my stomach, especially like a heavy carb meal like that, will definitely mess with that. The pillow, and when I line up everything, I notice like I'm pretty much going the whole night without waking up to pee, and that's a big one for me because like I've always drank tons of water just with working out and stuff, where I always felt like I woke up at least once a night, like 1 a.m. or whatever. But it's funny. I just learned this trick. I started getting into taking baking soda as like a supplement. So mixing like a quarter teaspoon of baking soda with water because I was getting a lot of like heartburn. We're at that age, right? We're getting heartburn now for everything you eat. Like can't eat pasta sauce anymore.
Do you
Um,
remember? I'm going to cut you off. Do you remember we were all hanging out one day? We had a big giant meal, and I walked down the stairs with a thing of Tums, and I remember clapping. It might have been in my head. I remember, like, oh, I got the Tums, and everyone was like, yes.
oh yeah, we
You
were all there.
like, yes, we need this. And you
That
think
was
I'm coming
amazing.
down like Jello shots, like we were in our
Yes.
20s or something. Like, no, I got the Tums,
We
guys.
got the Tums. Yeah, we're
Sorry.
30. That's the difference between 35 and like, yeah, 25 or 21. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, the baking soda hack. So I was like reading. So basically, what that does is it's sodium bicarbonate. It just changes the pH system in your body. So it's like if you're having sort of in any sort of indigestion, your stomach acid, your pH is low, right? High is actually more alkaline, low is more acidic. So, anyways, it's going to bring it back to more neutral. And one of the things I was reading was that if you're waking up to pee every night, it can be due to like a pH imbalance basically hitting your bladder. So once it's like gone through like your stomach and it reaches like your bladder, the little acidic environment is actually causing your bladder to spasm, which makes you kind of get up to go. Because
Okay.
I would notice like even when I'd wake up to pee in the middle of the night, like it wasn't like a full pee. It's like maybe half. So I'm like, okay, there's something about it. But the baking soda, one, like with the heartburn, and then two, was just like helping me sleep through the night. That's been a good hack. I mean, the other things that I try to line up, I've been doing like the nose. It's called intake breathing. I'll give that company
Yeah.
kind of like a little shout out. So you put the little magnets on the nose. You first off, you gotta make sure your nose is like clean or wash your face, and then you put this little thing on that basically makes your nose opens up your airways. Like I've broken my nose and face once, nose twice. So my septum on my right side is like shot. Go into that another point. Um, but so like I have always been struggled to breathe through my nose, especially at night, just from congestion or whatnot. So like that thing helps open up the airway. I mouth tape every night. That's something I started doing last year. The nose thing I've been doing for I should have like got in on this company because I see them everywhere now. Same with the pregnancy pillows. Like we're going to be boosting sales. Like I've already gotten people to buy the naze things, the intake breathing, the blue light blockers. It's another thing I do at night. That's like definitely a trendy thing. I saw. I'm like, oh, let's try it. I like the look of them, and they do work, dude. So it's like I'll be watching a TV show at night. And then I'll put those on, and then within like 10 minutes, I'll start falling asleep on the couch. So I don't know if it's something just where the amber tone or the orangey tone helps with that, or if it's just all paired with when I'm taking everything. But
Hmm.
um, those are all kind of my sleep kind of rituals. Like I don't do the baking powder or baking soda like every night, but the magnesium, the blue light blockers, that I don't put the tape on until I'm like actually ready to go to bed. And there's no snoring. I feel like I breathe. The pillow. Yeah, those are basically my things.
You really have the sleep hygiene thing down. Like you've given yourself every possible way to get the boost from this. And we were talking about like cumulative damage, right? Like
Yes.
that's one of the things earlier on. One thing people really miss out on is their health understanding, especially with all these like GLP-1s and all that stuff. Everybody's in
Oh
such a
yeah.
rush for everything, and there's cases for that where that maybe needs to be used. All that. I'm not bashing anybody, but everything, whether it's the good, the bad, the balance, right? Bringing it back to all that a little bit, it's
Yes.
all cumulative. So
Yeah.
there's something called cumulative stress disorder when you just
Yeah.
have too much going on. There's your mental issues right there that can take place.
Yeah.
You take too many back bumps over time. You're just lifting weights. We've talked about this. All that is damage, damage, damage. So if
Yep.
you're not
Repetitive.
recovering with a good Epsom salt bath, maybe an infrared spa, sauna. If you're
Yep.
not actively recovering and you're doing all these other things, you're actively deteriorating. So if you are
Exactly.
a wrestler or a real athlete, like really trying at either one of these things, you're doing a lot of damage to your body.
Yes.
You're not doing something to mitigate it or ideally reverse it and be a little bit more on the upward trend,
Yep.
the longevity is just not there. But you can tell people are doing that now.
Oh yeah.
Seeing this meme go around of Hulk Hogan at 41 and CM Punk at 47. Neither of those two are my favorite people, but you look at either one
Right.
of them and you're like, wow, CM Punk looks like he's 20 compared
Yeah.
to a guy that looks like he's 60. And it's just a fact. Granted, fashion was different, so like don't fall into the traps of like everybody looked older because there's fashion trends, different things, but you really look at somebody's eyes, their
Yeah.
muscle tone,
Their
their
skin.
skin, like you can
Yeah.
tell like there is a difference in longevity that's taking place. And
Yeah.
that is one of the few trends I'll put it. It's not really a trend, but if you want to call it a trend, I get that. That is
Yeah.
that is the trend train to jump on. Like
Yeah.
go that way. Aim for longevity. It is like the best thing you can do for your body, right?
Yeah.
Even if
Recovery.
you're not an athlete, just you should be doing these things.
100%. If you're doing the damage, you got to be unwinding the damage. I started to learn that, like I'd say in my late 20s when I was wrestling a ton and just it was like go go go, and that's where I was like, okay, like the foam rolling became a big thing, like getting like myofascial release type work. Like I've gotten into that like in my own practice, but like there's been doing a lot of like courses lately, and one of the things they said was like the condition of your nervous system equals the amount of breaths you take over the condition of your fascia. And your fascia, for people that don't know, is like the connective tissue in between like your muscles. It's kind of like this web that ties everything together. And certain things can either dehydrate that fascia, which makes it really sticky, hard for those muscles to move, hard for blood flow to go. So it's like from myofascial release, like foam rolling, and basically just keeping your body moving, right? Keeping your lymphatic system flowing, but then also like we talked about the breath work, like slowing down the breath, working on good movement, myofascial release, hydrating your fascia with minerals and electrolytes, like you said. So I think a lot of people can actually demineralize themselves by just drinking like almost too much plain water. And I know that I was doing that at one point in my life where I was just filling up like just tap water, which is pretty much stripped of electrolytes and minerals, and slamming it down and like peeing like every 30 minutes or so. I'm like, so now I like one thing that I do that I've learned is like to drink majority of your water when you're actually eating your meals, because like your meals are naturally going to have more minerals in them with like sodium, potassium, calcium kind of in them. So like the water is better helped absorbed. But
Hmm.
um,
I think that's all
yeah,
good points with the water. Me, I do that too. I've been putting a little bit of lemon, or sometimes I'll put the sea salt in there because you need that to really like water is going into your body, right? If you just have tap water going in, it it's water. It flows. It's what it does. And so the analogy I'm going to give is just going to flow through. If
yep,
you give some electrolytes to it, you give some substance to it, it sticks a little bit better.
for
I
sure.
It's very, again, we'll go caveman Preston, right? Very, very dumbed down, very simplified, but that's kind of what it really is doing, right? It's sticking
Yep.
better. Because I'm kind of famous for having to run off to the bathroom and take full minute pees
Yeah.
because don't have enough electrolytes or something. I'm like, so I'll have a full minute conversation with somebody. Like, yep, They've washed their hands. They left. I'm in there. Somebody else comes in. Like, yeah, I'll start another conversation.
Yep.
The draining is just different, right? You need
For
to
sure.
keep some of the hydration. And I also take 10 grams of creatine a day.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I need to keep the hydration going. I need it to stick to the body.
creatine is like one thing where it's finally started. I feel like the last 6 months to a year, it's really finally starting to like get more mainstream. So I did like my senior thesis in college on creatine, and like there was even still like pushback, like, oh, it's just for performance. Like there's some like, could be some side effects, but it's like the most studied supplement, like as you know. One of the other ones that I've done, I think I told you about recently, is just trying to increase fiber intake and like, um, you know, so much vegetables. You can only like eat so much through meals where it's just like, oh my god, I'm eating like so much broccoli. Whereas I started doing I actually got this from my wife. Like she heard about it, psyllium husk.
Yeah,
That's been a game changer for me. And it's like I'll mix that either with like a smoothie or a even like with some oatmeal, and that I just feel like helps like really clean out the whole
sure.
digestive tract. That one's been pretty good.
And if people don't know a lot about fiber and how it really works, is it's as your things are going through your body, it's basically sweeping all the
Yeah.
really the crap out of you, right? So
Right.
all the breakdowns. So if you have visceral fat, regular
Yep.
fat breakdown, all that kind of thing, we won't go too crazy into that, right? Because we're big nerds and we can do that forever. But it's
Yeah.
sweeping all the things out of you that aren't supposed to stay in you.
Yep.
Without enough fiber in your body, it sticks too long, and it's
Right.
not really good for you. And I know there's studies with inflammation and all that. And you kind of kill me because every time I listen to something new, I listen to tons of stuff on YouTube about longevity, diet, and
Longevity.
things. And I listen to two different main doctors when it comes to like lifting and things like that, and then another one when it comes to nutrition. I'm not going to give them the shout out because they don't deserve it. No, they do. I just don't like doing that because they don't know me, I don't know them.
Right.
So the one guy talked about psyllium husk, and I'm like, oh, I need to try that. A week later, you happen to be here, and you brought it up. I was like, oh, he's always ahead. And then the guy was talking about polyphenols, which is
Polyphenols.
in your, is in fats, and you need
Yep.
the
Antioxidants.
yeah, they're very good for you, and you
Olive
can
oil.
make them without fat. So usually in olive oil. And I was
Yep.
literally thinking, I'm like, oh, I need to bring that up to him too. And he's in my kitchen taking a shot of olive oil. And I'm like, this guy's always like a step
With the
ahead with
nutrition,
the
dude.
thing. I'm learning it. I'm like thinking about it, and he's like already doing it. So it's nice to see like somebody already going down the rabbit holes. And like, okay, I have like you're not a test subject, but if you're doing it, I know it's probably quality advice. You're not super trendy with the things. You
Right.
do some research and everything, but
I know how to
yeah,
kind of go between the trends and what's good, like the Wizard of Wellness, right? That's
yeah,
my elder persona.
yeah.
But let's have a little fun with like some kind of lighthearted stuff to kind of end with. And so we're gonna play a little on the spot game for you. I'm gonna put you on the spot with some questions. It'll be kind of fitness and wrestling related.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do on the spot game for you. It's gonna be your favorite exercise, or if you only pick one exercise, could be your favorite for every muscle group. And go. I'm gonna name a bunch, right? So you have like 5 seconds or less to think about it. And
Okay.
feeling ready? Okay.
I'm making sure I understand it. I think I do. Yeah, I'm good.
You just name one exercise that
Easy.
your favorite or your top exercise for the following muscle group. All right, we'll start off with back.
I'm gonna go with any row. All rows are awesome.
Okay, let's go triceps.
Triceps. Lately, it's been kickbacks. These
Okay,
granny style kickbacks because they isolate so well.
cable or dumbbell?
Dumbbell.
Oh, interesting.
But
I'm a cable guy.
you need a good mind muscle connection, and I usually do it after I've done something heavy.
All right. Let's go quad
I just love extensions, leg
extension,
extensions,
good
perfect.
isolation. Let's go overall leg.
Okay, overall leg, I like a good hack squat machine. You're in the machine,
Mhm.
the plates down here, and you have all the room to place your feet a little higher,
Yep.
a little lower, so you can kind of target any part of the body. A real good hack squat machine.
Okay. Um, let's go chest.
Incline, any kind of press. I think dumbbell's a little bit better, but
Yeah,
I'm biased because I can do 65 million.
65 million.
That's easy.
You've turned me on to those. I was inclines always were kind of iffy with my AC joint, but like the kind of some of the tips you gave me about kind of keeping the elbows tucked in. So for those of you kind of listening, like just flare your elbows a little bit more, keep that little bit of that arch, right? And then embrace it.
Empowered
Um,
pinkies.
yeah, that's it. Pinkies, biceps.
There is a standing curl that you have to get really used to. You have the cables, and
Yeah, I know that one.
here you go down, so you get a deeper contraction.
Got it. Let's see. Bicep, triceps. Let's go shoulders or delts.
Shoulders, I love a good side lateral raise.
Good side lateral.
Right lean forward, really hitting it. Yeah, it's hard to beat.
All right. Cool. I
Easy.
guess we'll end it there.
Easy. No, we can't end it there. One more thing.
One more.
So you can't just throw things at me and then I don't get to throw things at you.
Why
So
not?
we've seen these power ranking things before, right? You know what I'm talking about? Where I throw some stuff at you and you have to rank them one through, let's do six. One through
Okay.
six. You have to rank them. I'm going to say one thing first. You have to place it in there knowing that there's more things to come.
It's
You don't
blind.
quite know. Yeah, it's blind. You don't get to see what's coming. All right.
Okay.
So when you think about blank, what gives you the most joy in life? When you think about blank,
Oh.
what has given you the most joy in life? So this could be nostalgic, comfort, whatever you describe as joy. You can also go far enough to think like, oh, there's also some negative to this thing. So that whole thing right there. You feel
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready.
All
Toss them out.
right. So when you think about a very good long-term inside joke, what level of joy? 1 through 6.
Okay, one's the best, right?
One is the best. I'm gonna label these.
I like this. That's a pretty good one because, like, with a good friend group, a good inner circle, that can hold some time. That can last forever. So it's definitely up there. I don't know if I want to put it as my number one. I think I want to put it as a solid. God, I'm torn between two or three. Let's throw it at two.
Oh, I was thinking you were pick 3. Okay. So a good inside joke. Like one about like I don't know, a random road like Lake Otis or something.
Yeah, because
Inside
I don't
joke.
know.
None of you get that. It's fine. Okay.
I'm
Number
happy with that
two,
choice.
number two is just exercise.
Exercise. Oh, hmm.
Yeah, so you messed up picking 2 so early.
I know, because I'm like, God, do I throw this at number one, and then it's like it's something better than that, then it has to go three. So I'm gonna put exercise. Gosh, should I keep number one open? I'm gonna throw it at number three.
Number 3 for exercise.
Yeah, we'll see
Okay.
how I did at the end.
Yeah, we're gonna see. All right. Number 3, your parents.
My parents.
I'm trying
Well,
to piss everybody off. Just be ready.
I'm grateful that they're both alive. I have a good relationship with both of them.
I have Papa
Man,
Baker on my Facebook. I'm gonna message him.
well, he will be one of the few that listen to this. Oh man, let's see. So I got six, right?
6. 2 and 3 are taken up.
Two and three are taken up. What are things that, and repeat the category again?
When you think about blank, what has given you the most joy in your life?
Okay. Yeah, I feel confident putting that one at four.
4. Okay. I
Yeah.
did mention before there's negatives with things too. Parents are awesome, but they can suck a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
they all know that. I'm a parent. I'm awesome and I'm horrible all at the same time.
Balance.
All right. Your 20s, the age of your 20s. How much
Oh,
joy? Yeah.
a roller coaster for sure, but joy. So joy. There was some joy there. There was definitely a lot of stress. Like
Mhm.
owning a gym was pretty much all through my 20s, into the early 30s. I'll put that one at 6.
That's a 6.
I'll
Okay.
put that one last.
20s is a 6. So you have 1 and 5 left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things left. Planet Payne. All of
Oh man, that's a good one. I can't put it 5, so I got to put it 1.
Got to put it 1. Also, I'm the one recording this. If nobody knows, so if you picked that as number 5, I would have just never sent this to you.
You just end screen recording, delete. Oh, whoops! It didn't actually pick up.
Yep, that's it. And
That
then
was 5.
by default, the number 5 or fifth thing that has brought you joy in your lifetime is your marriage.
Oh
I'll be messaging her soon. I'll let her see this list, and I'll make sure to get you in trouble again.
wow, that definitely will because now that's 5, and Planet Pain is 1.
I literally did this just so I could say this sentence. Is I just want You can tell her
Yeah,
your marriage is so much more important than anything. It's you would trade your 20s for what you have
sure.
right now. That's pretty good. But you wouldn't trade your parents. You wouldn't trade exercise. In fact, you wouldn't even trade a really good joke.
I that,
Yeah, that's pretty bad, right?
oh man.
Pain. You wouldn't change Planet Pain. That one's kind of fair. That one's way
Yeah,
up there for me in life. Even if I had a listing and I knew everything that was coming, there's a
yeah,
lot of joy out of there too. And this isn't just joy is different than like a happy feeling, right? Like joy,
sure.
like is you it allows your creative process. It allows so much, right? Like there's
It does.
more to joy than just happiness. So
I
uh,
don't think I did too bad. There's
yeah,
definitely like that's the thing about being the blind rankings. Exercise, yeah, that was well done. You had a good scale there.
this was my job was to get you in trouble, right?
Yep,
Dark side for a reason,
I
not
love it.
anything else.
So
But yeah,
what?
thanks for letting me be a part of all this. That you're trying out here the new podcast situation.
Yeah,
Probably worth noticing or noting to everybody that this is a little bit different, right? This is your first one, so there's been a lot
right,
more about you, which
right.
that's what it is, right? We're trying to
Get
pinpoint,
to know the hosts.
yeah, get to know the host a little bit. So anybody who does come on here, don't think that Tyler's going to take up all your time by talking about himself. At least not here. Also, not everybody's going to probably be a giant fitness nerd, so I'm sure there'll be other things. I know you'll want to talk about video games, all kinds of different things throughout. I'm pretty sure you and I'll have to do this again at a different time too, just
Yeah,
to have a little bit more of a concentrated situation. This is
for
also
sure.
the first one, right? So
We can dive into other things.
yeah, thanks for letting me be a part of it. I appreciate that. Do you got anything else to close it out?
I think to close it out is just, I mean, we could go on a rabbit hole with all these different things, but yeah, I think having some guests on here down the line with just talking about, like, again, it can be lighthearted stuff like what we talked about, could be going really into like what you had to overcome and what sort of healing hacks. I mean, this is all about healing heals, right?
Sure.
What you had to do to overcome that. So I guess I'll ask you one question to end things off. What's one piece of advice you would tell a younger version of yourself who may be struggling? It can be you 2 years ago, it could be you 20 years ago, but one piece of advice, if you had to go back in time, you now, and tell yourself, what would you tell yourself?
It's hard. This one's really hard for me because I think about this stuff all the time, and I have a
Yeah,
son whose name, he's my junior. So every
right.
time I think of one of these things, I literally go tell him right away.
Sure.
So
Yeah, you have that
I
outlet.
don't, I don't internalize them. I'm like, wow, here's this fleeting thought that I really wish I knew. Like I'm teaching him about investing. He's 14. Investing, taking care of the body, doing this, doing this, doing this. Um,
Right.
and I'm trying to think of the one that sticks for me is probably I gave this advice to Chad, and I wish I did internalize this one a little bit too. And you were probably in the car ride of many of our car rides during this is remember you're in the good old days while you're in the good old days.
Good one.
To try to internalize that. Mind
Yeah.
you, we're a little bit older, especially me, right? Like I have the little bit more sentimental, like I want to internalize this piece.
Yeah.
I remember it 10 years down the line, and it's not a vague feeling, it's a
Yeah.
clear memory. So enjoy the ride, right? And really internalize when you know something special is happening, memorialize it somehow in your mind.
Be present.
Be present. That's it.
Be present. Be present in the moment. Cool, man. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it.
I think so too.
We'll see you guys next time, and thank you for listening to the pilot episode of the Healing Heals podcast.
See you later.